When you speak, how do people perceive you? How do your employers or potential employers, how do your colleagues, how do your clients and or customers see you? How do they perceive you when you speak? And that's what we've been talking about in this ongoing series, because the way that people perceive you and I when we speak, when we communicate, can directly, and usually does, absolutely directly impact our career progression. It impacts how much you and I are compensated, how much we get paid, how quickly we are promoted, whether or not our clients and customers want to deal with us, want to buy from us. It also impacts our ability to influence other people. So we started the series in the last couple of videos, and in the last video we talked about something that I like to call an acrostic, and we can write this, an acronym, we can write this a couple of different ways, C-A-R-V-E. And we dealt with the C already, which was clear or clarity. So we said that the first thing you want to be able to do when you speak is you want to speak clearly. And that's important because if a person can't understand you, first of all, if they can't hear you, then they can't understand you. But if they can hear you, but they still can't understand you, that presents a problem, right? So they should be able to hear you and to understand what you're saying. And then we talked about the fact that there are two aspects of speaking clearly. One has to do with your speaking style, and the other has to do with your structure, the structure that you use to present your thoughts. So I want to encourage you to go back and watch the last video, and I'll try to have a link somewhere in or around this video where you can go back and watch that. This video series is going to be on YouTube, and I'll be sending it out through email. This is the kind of stuff that you want to be thinking of when you're communicating, when you're speaking. Now, I know some of you are watching this and you're saying, well, Michael, I tend to speak too fast. I tend to struggle with my speech, stutter, stammer, speak too fast. Or you struggle under pressure in certain speaking situations. So what does all of this have to do with that? And we'll continuously remind you and reinforce and talk about how what we're talking about today and what we talk about in every video, how this impacts your style, the way that you speak, your pattern of speaking. So we looked at clarity. So let's talk about the A now. The A stands for accuracy. Now I know what you're probably thinking, what is accuracy? What in the world? What is this guy talking about? So let me present it to you this way. You've probably known people or talked to people or heard people who've presented ideas and presented things as if they were facts. But in fact, it turned out they were completely wrong, right? That these things were made up, or the person didn't really know what they were talking about, or a part of what they said was true and the other part was not. And we all know that most of the things that we know now, at some point in the future, will be proven as false. Okay, so there's, science is always evolving. There are things that we believe just a few years ago, or 7 years ago, or 10 years ago, especially as far as like neuroscience and things like that, that now turn out to be not completely accurate, not completely true. Now, that's normal. However, if you have the ability to verify what you're saying, to track down and to make sure that what I'm saying is true, it's accurate, right? As far as I can find, as far as I can research, this is true. I'm not just making this up off the top of my head. Then when you communicate, you'll be communicating accurate information. Now, why is this important? It's important because accuracy builds what? Trust. Accuracy builds trust. So when what you and I say is accurate, people will tend to trust us more. They'll tend to believe us. They'll tend to believe what we're saying. So someone says, well, this person said this in a meeting, or here's the data that they gave us, and this data is accurate. Wow. So what you're doing now is you're building trust. You're building a relationship, or you already have a relationship, but you're building trust. This person now believes that they can trust what you say. And when they trust you, then they believe you, then you are able to influence them, right? So when you go into a meeting and you present your ideas, automatically you have trust. They believe you. They'll tend to take what you're saying as being true. Does this make sense? So accuracy is very, very important, and it's something that you want to keep in your mind when you are preparing a presentation, when you're making comments, right? You want to make sure that what you're saying is as true as it possibly can be, because this will make you a more influential person. And when you know that people are listening to you and that they are willing and able to be influenced by you, you feel calmer, you feel more relaxed, you feel more confident. You feel more confident. You feel like you have a connection with the people who are around you. And this feeling of confidence, like, wow, you know what? When I speak, people listen, right? When you feel that way, guess what that does to and for your speech physically? Like, guess what it does for your speech? When you feel more confident, you feel better about your speech, you tend to speak smoother. You tend to speak better. Okay? You and I both know that when we don't feel very confident about what we're saying, if we haven't fact-checked it, or I'm not real sure about that, or we're not real sure about what we're saying, we tend not to feel very confident, and this affects our speaking style, our smoothness, okay, our fluency. So while this may only be one element, it's still an important element, right? You want to feel confident about what you're saying. And when you feel confident, you're going to speak more fluently, you're going to speak more smoothly, you're going to make a greater connection. People are going to trust you, they're going to believe you, you're going to be of a greater influence. Does this make sense? So, you're probably wondering, well, how do I get to this place? Well, of course, whenever you're speaking, whenever you're saying something, if you're not 100% sure that this is true, then say that. I'm not absolutely sure about this, but based on what I found, based on what I researched, based on my knowledge, these are the facts, right? Or I have researched this, here are my references, or I have researched this is something that I know, and here it is. So you can preface what you're saying by saying, I'm not real sure, or I am real sure, right? So that when you say something, it's still true. Hey, I'm not real sure, but this, or I'm absolutely sure that this is true, and here it is. So make sure that always in the back of your mind, you are communicating, you're articulating information that is as accurate as possible. Now, if you are out there and you're watching this video and you've been struggling with your communication skills, and you know that when you speak, people perceive you in a certain way and it may not be the way that you want them to perceive you, then I want to invite you to book an assessment session, a smooth speech assessment session with me now. And the reason is that I've worked with so many people, so many professionals over the years, and helped them with this very information, as well as learning to speak smoothly. Some people that I work with have stuttered severely, others have not stuttered at all, but they struggle to articulate their thoughts smoothly, clearly, and confidently. They're professionals. Often they are doctors or they're IT professionals. And I've worked with them and helped them completely transform their speech, which in turn has helped them transform their careers. It's opened up the doors so that they can walk through and do the things that they're qualified to do, they're capable of doing it, they've always wanted to do. So I want to invite you to book a session with me so that we can begin to work together to take your speech and therefore your personal life and your professional life to that next level. And you can do this much, much faster than what you may have imagined. In just a few months, which is nothing, goes by just like that, just a few months, or less than a few months, your speech can be completely different than what it is right now. One of my clients says your future self will thank you for it, right? So when you get out there, you'll be looking back in just a few short months and say, wow, man, I feel so much more confident about my speech. I'm able to articulate my thoughts so much more smoothly, so much more clearly. I can see that people are tuned in, that they're listening, that they're nodding. I'm able to influence people in a positive way. I'm able to influence people so much more, so much better now. You're going to feel so much better about yourself and about your speech when you work with me one-on-one. Working with me one-on-one is the best way, and it's the fastest way to accelerate your progress. It's the fastest way to get to where you want to get. So I just want to invite you to book your assessment session. There'll be a link in or around this video where you can do that. And let's go ahead and get started taking your speech to that next level. So I'll see you in the next session where we talk about the R and how to carve out the top spot in the minds of those around you. You want to carve out the top spot so that when your employers, when your colleagues, when your clients think of you, you hold that top spot in their mind. When they think about hiring you, promoting you, giving you a project, when they think about referring you, recommending you, when they think about buying from you, they think about you in a way that says, yes, this is the person I want for this job. This is the person that I want to recommend. This is the person that I want to buy from. Okay? My name is Michael Williams. See you in the next video.